Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome. It's that time of the weekend once again for the Weekend Warriors. And as always, we kick things off with the Formula 4s. And tonight we head across to North America for the first time this season. And we head to the mighty, the iconic, the enigmatic Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, or Motorsport as it's more commonly known. I'm Tim Cottscott, Smoothly Kumo in the virtual production trailer. Charles Bashal, he's back and he will be joining me very, very shortly. Before we just run through the championship standings just to bring us up to date after completing 3 rounds so far. And in S1, it's Chris Sugarbanker who leads the way. So far, we've had 3 different winners from each of the rounds. Kabanka winning last time out at VAR after 2 second places, and that's why he leads on 293. Jason Green, 30 points behind in this early stage in second, with reigning champion Megan Overstreet currently lying a further, nearly 30 points behind Green in third. Michael McConnell, after rising up in Spec 1, is fourth. There's Jason Zerbs, Hamada, Alessandrini, Lasky, and Soto to round out your top 10. Let's now head across into Spec 2, and Benjamin Harris leads the way there. Of course, winner of the first round at Rudskogen. But much slower margin here, only 19 points. The difference between himself and Paul Stevens, the high-flying Brit newcomer to the championship, in second. Chris Montgomery lies in third, then it's Steno, Fernandez, only 2 points separating them. Saunders, 1 point behind in sixth. 2 points behind him lies Jesse Bottas. Then it's tight just again behind him with Bosgood and Verbruge separated by 2 points, but then Kian Palmer behind on 52 and rounding out the top 10 there. Now across into Masters, wow, what a category this has been this season. We have third overall at VIR and Rudskogen, rounds 3 and 1 respectively for our drivers, and Antonio Reis leads the way there, having won the opening 2 rounds. Yorgmani, you won last time out at VIR, lies in second. Bit of a gap to him than Andy Gassius, who's been strong but consistent so far this season. Tom Laurie in fourth, then it's John Toms, Coffey, Murakami, Walbolt, Brewster and Love to round out your top 10 there. Charles, qualifying just ongoing now, but just before we got live, we were talking about this place and we sort of likened it to the North American version of what Imola is to Europe and what Suzuka is to Asia.
Yeah, Tim. It's absolutely just a very technical track. You have to be very precise on the lines. There's trouble spots that we'll be talking about later, but it's just one of those that you just need to log laps. You need to get a rhythm here to be successful. And even after you think you've logged all the laps you need, there's still going to be spots where it's just going to catch you.
And
so, yeah.
What you say about those stretch spots, because I think it's probably a good time as we run on board with Jason Green to talk about one of them. We're just about to come up to that pit entry, but also the pit exit you were mentioning about before the show.
Yeah, the pit entry and pit exit are basically right off the racing line, and it's just you have to be very aware as the cars come out of the pits, because you're trying to flare out here for turn 2 to get this entry opened up for this corner. And if there's cars coming out of the pits, you're just going to end up colliding with each other. But yeah, we're talking about turn 2 here. It's one of those that's, as we were talking about, just very tricky, very much a throttle control. You think you can take a lot of speed in there, but then the exit just kind of closes up. And so you end up, a lot of times you'll see cars off on the right-hand side, and then we're down here to 5 and 6 Moss Corner. Early on the brakes, or at least I tried to, but then you've got that really tight exit out of there. You'll see a lot of cars off on the left there. You'll see a lot of collisions with overtaking cars. And then this is really the only straightaway of any significance on the track, the run down into the final S's to get you back to the end of the lap. So this is your max speed. This is the drafting point of the track. This is where you can make passes if you've got the overtake speed. And so we get down here the S's, and you're kind of slowing down and lowering your gears. And then there's the pit entry that you have to be very careful of. And then that last tight 90-degree corner to get you back to the start-finish line. It's just, like I said, it's a really fun track once you get used to driving it. But it's still just one of those that you have to be on the game from start to finish.
It is. It's such a treacherous circuit, isn't it? And it'll be interesting to see how drivers get on tonight. We've got some qualifying. DJ Alessandrini leads the way with 125.7 and 6 attempts clear. That is a astonishing margin by Weekend Warriors standards, whether it be Formula 4s, SRFs, or even the Vs that currently are broadcasted here on Apex Racing TV. But you can say that is a real mark in the sand there from the young American. Green in second, Kabanka has, Moss Corner, one of those treacherous ones. And yeah, again, claiming another victim. Of course, this corner designed essentially by Sterling Moss, and that's where it got its name, as there's Richard Coffey off at turn 2. And for me, Charles, coming up to Moss, it's the corner before it, that swooping left-hander. I love it. You can really get, the compression, the car to work in your favour, but then it's so treacherous on the brakes when you have to leave it as late as you dare. But the car, you're coming up in elevation, the car's getting lighter too, which makes it all the more trickier for braking. I think these cold tyres on those opening laps of the race could well be the most challenging, and we could see some, dare I say, some big names fall by the wayside, and it's such a narrow point on the track that it can cause a big accident too.
Absolutely, yeah. It's turn 2, turn 5, like I said. Yeah, you get into that turn, sweeping left-handers, downhill compression at the bottom. Then you come back up to inner Moss Corner. As you said, car gets light. You're trying to brake, slow the car down, downshift, whatever you got to do. Put your feet down on the concrete. Anything you can do to get the car stopped. And still, it's just one of those that there's going to be, there's so much, so many chances for drama there. Because there are going to be some people that are better at handling it than others. And it doesn't surprise me that the gaps are as big as they are between some of these, because like I said, unless you're actively driving this track a lot, it's not something that you can pick up over the course of a couple hours of practice, as we saw another victim of Moss Corner.
Stevie Ray just heading up into 7th there, top of the Masters. In fact, we've got the top 4 altogether in 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th respectively. In terms of Spec 2, Jesse Bottas leads the way there. I see from the chat, from the timing sheets as well, missing one of our normal front runners, not just in Masters, but in the field overall. Antonio Race saying that he's rudely decided to watch the F1 instead of joining us here on track. But he'll be back next week. Good to see him back, and well, trying to maintain that strong winning ways that he's had so far to the start of the season with no Yogmani either from the top of the championship. That's looking good for him to hold on to that one. That is for sure. So we're heading into the last. Go on, Charles.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I was just looking. The top 3 in the Masters class are not in the race today. So you got Jim Brewster leading that, who is a very good Masters driver himself. Was on the podium, I believe, for the championship last season. So
was indeed.
So
not,
good to see him up there.
Not just in the Formula Force, but also in the SRFs too.
There you go.
We'll see later on where we head to, well, a new circuit for me, Sandown in Australia. 2 poles apart in terms of race meetings. Couldn't really get much further away from one another in terms of race calendar, but it's the beauty of sim racing, isn't it? That's the beauty of it. A little bit of change around. So as you mentioned, Brewster heading to the top of Masters into 7th. Overstreet popping into 2nd. Still chipping away a bit at Alessandrini's lead, but still near as damn it. 6/10 of a second. I mean, only 8 thousandths off that 6/10 barrier. Frightening for me. Frightening.
Yes. There's, you can see that, and there's the pit entry. You're just moving to the right a little bit. You actually would move, take that same line to make the corner, except you would just kind of flare left at the last minute. So that's where we might see some drama as people come into the pits.
I think bar pace and qualifying certainly, bar absolute shocker of a start from Alessandrini. I think if you're a betting person, you want to head down to the bookkeepers to try and place a bet on him winning this. I think you're going to have incredibly short odds as it's the last few seconds of qualifying. Drivers who cross the line before the check flag comes out, which is now, can complete their lap. And I'm not going to see any changes around stall. Jeff Saunders, top of Spec 2. He's inside the top 10 now, starting 9th provisionally. Bottas just losing that top of Spec 2 qualifying status. That really means too much, other than bragging rights. Yet set time is John Toms, the Canadian. Hopefully we have him join us because it's his home race and he's our lone Canadian in the field. So, got to see him do well, Absolutely not to, bragging rights. It's got to be done. We'll only this and, of course, Montreal being the only Canadian tracks on the iRacing service, I do believe.
I think that's right.
I'm trying to rack from, but I don't think this because it's more the dirt ovals that's what normally catches me out. But I don't think there is, isn't there? Is there?
No, I think it is just.
I'm leaning on your Americanness here, Charles.
I think it's just Circuit Villeneuve and Motorsport. I think those are the only 2.
This track, of course, has remained unchanged since its inception, all the way back in 1961. Can't see that about too many tracks.
Yeah, the track itself, as far as the layout, hasn't changed. I was watching the IMSA race earlier this season from there, and it's time for a rescan. They've added a lot of extra concrete in some pretty necessary areas, as we were talking about the outside of turn 2, and then I think around Moss Corner as well. So maybe that would be an improvement, and that would definitely help. But once again, first time here. And we've got our off-track friction modeling has been changed. So maybe there's a few more cars that can be saved from just basically gliding across the grass into the wall out of turn 2.
That's a really good point. It's the first time I've done commentary here since the changes to the off-track physics. So, yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out. But that is the end of qualifying as we transition across into the race session now. We can take you through your grid. Here they are. Didier Sandrini, a commanding pole position for him. He starts alongside Megan Overstreet on the front row. Jason Greenan, championship leader in S1, Christian Kabanka make up a row 2, with Jim Brewster in the end, slossing it into P5, putting the proverbial cat amongst the pigeons there. He's on the 3rd row with Thomas Renders. Michael McConnell shares row 4, sorry, with Stevie Ray, so his organizer, in an all-American row. Third one, in fact, inside that top 10. With Jeff Saunders, top qualifier in Spec 2, next to Michael Nelson. Alan Bradshaw has Jesse Bottas of the company, who Bottas left much of qualifying in Spec 2. There's an all Spec 2 row with Paul Stevens and Carter. Then Jacobson and Walbolt make up row 8 even. Tim Stainer and Richard Coffey are row 9. Flip Fernandez and Kai Brendel are running at your top 20 and row 10 of the field. With John Toms, if he chooses to join us, being the only Canadian in the field, well, last car to take to the track. We'll see as everyone lining up behind the Porsche 9 safety car. We're going to have a full fat formation lap here today. Makes a bit of a change. Normally start along the back straight away, but we've got it all here. Let's have a bit of mention to our sponsor for this series, PDA, or Precision Data Analytics. Give them their full name. Now, Ray Phillips has over 30 years of experience in motorsport, has raced open wheel cars for most of that 20 years. He has now found a new passion, helping others go faster and perfect their craft. They can fulfill the role of a data engineer and a race engineer, also as a driver coach, while helping drivers get the most out of data and video systems. Now, Ray was a data engineer and driver coach for a 2019 championship-winning Ferrari Challenge team. PDA also sells a wide range of data and video equipment that can help everyone from a high-performance driver education driver to a professional driver, or even a race team with multiple cars and drivers. Now, no matter what you choose, customers get the information they need to go faster and have a good time on track. PDA doesn't just help out in the real world, but can also help sim racers and high performers driver education drivers go faster while staying within their limits. And you can find out more about Precision Driving Analytics by heading across to precisiondrivinganalytics.com. Well, just build up the anticipation now, really, isn't it, Charles? And be interested to see strategy-wise, who pulls what here. As we see track temperatures there, 74 degrees Fahrenheit. That's low 20s in Celsius, so nice and cool. But then, you know, at the end of the day, it is October and we are in Canada. And I don't know about you, Charles, but from my side, those clouds are looking very overcast. And if we were to have rain, I think it'd be looming.
Yeah, not quite ready for the rain yet, but does look ominous out here. And that will keep the track obviously a little bit cooler during the race, as we already see it.
Charles, that's Thomas Renders.
Wow. Did he come back on? No, he towed.
Oh.
It looked like he just straight lined the corner.
Hardware failure, maybe?
That would have been my first thought.
Oh, pulled off. Maybe a delivery driver at the door with some new VRS, either hardware, pedals or drive units, and he's too excited.
That's right. Could be that also. You just never know. But yeah, just pulled off, towed back to the pits. So he'll wait on his tow. He'll probably lose at least a lap.
That's one of our front. It's disgusting. Yeah. I mean, John Thompson didn't make the start, so it's not like he's trying to get It's down to 20, which is still not a small field when all's said and done. Right. We're down to 19 now, and well, I think not far away from starting them, but that does allow. I'm trying to think. So everyone who's on the left side of the grid shuffle up one and gain a place.
Yeah, I think as we were talking before that happened, I think what I was going to say was they just need to find single file as quickly as they can. That'll be the easiest way to survive lap one here.
Well, let's get ready to go racing, folks, from Motorsport as we are green and we are away. And I'm not sure, Charles, if Overstreet was first across the line there and might incur a penalty because Alessandrini looked to be just behind the young American racer there. But as we follow down into turn 2, Overstreet skating and oversteering and slipping and sliding our way through there. And now making our way through Quebec for the first time this evening. Jason Green, not the best starts. We're just on board with Jim Brewster. He's to our right, but on our left, look at that. Fast starting Stevie Ray up 3 places. Not as good as Richard Coffey, though. He's up 7 somehow into 11th.
Yeah, that's obviously a fantastic start for Coffey.
Well, this is where it's tight, it's dicey, it's treacherous on lap 1 through Sterling Corner, Moss Corner. We drag up the hill. There is Coffee up 7 places, up to 5th in class now. We head up the hill for the first time. Just trying to edge each other out. Green trying to get past Ray. Does not want to be held up behind him. Can already see that top 3 getting away from him. 1 second already, the gap. Jason Green not having the start that he certainly envisages himself having here for Motorsports. And wow, how close is Ray? I tell you when he's got past him, but Ray is not making his life comfortable at the end of lap 1.
Absolutely not. Yeah, Ray looks like he's got some good pace on this track, so he's gonna see if he can run up front for a while.
Your order is Alison Drini from Overstreet, Cabanca, third, then Green, Ray, Brewster, McConnell, Nelson, Bradshaw, Coffey ran out of the top 10. So Coffey's up another place now. He's inside that top 10. How many more can he climb? Carter leaves Spec 1. In fact, so Spec 2, our podium for Spec 2. All got 11, 12, 13 with Carter, Saunders and Bottas. Saunders having a poor start there, having started inside the top 10 in 9th, down to 12 at the moment as things stand. Another driver, they seem like a little bit like he's bogged out at the moment. That's Michael McConnell. You see, well, centre off screen in that 62 machine. There's Bradshaw wide.
It's that corner. It's very tricky. And it is easy to make a mistake there.
So we go 3 wide up the hill now, Charles. We're going to make it even 4 wide potentially as Bradshaw elbowed out onto the grass. And we're still 3 wide as we've got to come onto the brakes. What are they going to do? They're going to sort themselves out here. But it's like NASCAR right now. We've got 2 lines forming as we swoop through. And who's that edging through? That's Bradshaw trying to reclaim some places.
That is very NASCAR-like, and that's a really good racing. This track can go 2, 3 wide in spots, and so these guys are using every bit of it, trying to make moves up the field.
They're still attempting 2 wide now as they head through the start-finish straight. Bradshaw still trying to fight that inside line as everyone just skates around the outside, trying to hold that outside line. That's Jesse Bottas off and in the cross, Charles. And well, that's answered our question. Yes, you can save it.
You can, absolutely. Yeah, normally that's death. You get off wide in turn 2. Before this season, that's a death sentence. You're going to be in the wall. Yeah, that was quite an easy save. It looked like.
Just keep you up to that. I'll tell you what, Richard Coffey's up another place. That's 9 places now, into 9th. We're only on lap 3. We've completed 2 laps, actual laps, onto the 3rd right now. As there's Jason Green. Oh, he's lost a bit of time somewhere because that is Brewster and McConnell both in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, they were still dicing. That whole pack has just been leapfrogging each other for the last lap or so. So it wouldn't surprise me that he just maybe got offline or forced offline and had to kind of reset and start working his way back up.
Well, this time last lap, Charles, there was about a second difference between this gaggle, which was led by Jason Green, to our top 3. That gap is now 3.3 seconds, and it's across the line. Yes, I can tell you. So McConnell's the leader of this group. He did a 1:27.9. So 1:27.3, apologies, viewers. Whereas Green did he did 1:27.9, so it wasn't that bad, but he's lost a lot of time somewhere.
Now, Green's last lap was a 1:29.1. So, yeah, he did lose some time somewhere.
So you're right. I'm looking at their best laps. Apologies.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, it's he did lose some time somewhere. Like I said, it's really easy to just kind of get offline here, either by yourself or with help. Once you put a wheel off in the grass, it will slow you down now, as we saw earlier. So you kind of have to, like I said, get it back on the gray and kind of reset and start working forward again.
Subtle change yet again in this midfield as Brewster trying to take charge of the proceedings once again alongside McConnell, who's on driver's right. Green having a bit of a look, trying to identify which is the faster, the two lines through here. They're trying to follow them through, but they're still side by side. Brewster versus McConnell through the S's. As we dive down into whites, they're still side by side. And well, also we held up, but here comes Green to try and make it through what it costs the start finish line. But this is Green going to leapfrog the pair of them. They're still going to try and make it 3 wide, Charles. How are they managing this? And they're still going 3 wide yet again. Amazing stuff here from Motorsport.
Wow. Great driving. Yeah, it gave everybody space. There was plenty of room. Ooh, as we see a little bobble there by Stevie. So, yeah, plenty of room to race, and they gave everybody space. And you saw the difference between a solo versus side by side, that the solo guy was able to get up there and at his nose into that group.
Well, Green now at the front of it, trying to get some fresh air between himself and the following, well, squabbling pack, I think is the only way to describe it right now. Absolute epic racing for the ages here on Apex Racing TV from the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors. Green is, well, just going to be towing everyone along up the hill. I think he's going to hold on to it, Charles, and if he can just break away and get it clear. So, I mean, that gap, with all that infighting in this group, and the peloton, the gap is now 5.8 seconds to our top 3.
It looks like he's going to be able to hold off, but I don't know about pulling away. It looked like all these guys are running about the same pace, more or less, a tenth or two between them. So I think he's just basically going to be the engine of the train here, and he's just going to pull everybody along. Now, whether they can make up the gap up to the top 3, I'm not sure about, but we've still got about 23 minutes or 22 minutes of racing left, so we'll be finding out here soon. I'm sorry, 32 minutes.
Well, just, yeah, again, all change behind him. So there is Carter, your leader in Spec 1 at 4 spots. 3 of them being in class inside that top 10. Last place inside that top 10, in fact. Brewster leading Masters, Alessandrini, of course, leading the race, and Spec 1 because of it. Saunders not far behind, though, trying to stay onto the coattails of Carter in terms of Spec 2 and position overall. Third is Paul Stevens, who's down in 14th, and Renders has come back, Charles, and he stayed on the lead lap. It's only just spotted me, come across me.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. Yeah, he's up to 13th. He's still down 7 from where he started, but to have to tow at the start of the race and then jump back in, he's done a great job just to kind of work his picking ways up through the field. Obviously running with some great pace, now up to 12th. Just got by Bradshaw, so he's running well. We've only lost 1 driver. We lost Jacobson about 3 laps ago. So a really, really strong start for this entire field, because this could have been tragic at the start. But everybody's been racing really close, but really clean. It's been fun to watch, and there's still battles all over the track.
There is. It's hard to know. Like, normally, it's a large breakaway group, but what's fascinating to see is that this best of the rest group that we're witnessing right now, how they're just constantly chopping and changing. We're seeing great battles like we're seeing right on screen right now. There's Coffee trying to fight off the advances of Ray. Just
well, yeah, as we saw with that battle with Green, Brewster, Nelson, that group where they were basically side by side, 3 wide, coming through the S's. That this track does is one of the features of this track. It switches back quite a few times, so you can run. You'll be on the outside for 1 corner, but as long as you just kind of stay in it and maintain your line, running on the outside, you may get the inside on the next corner. It may help you out.
Constantly evolves this, doesn't it? It's absolutely fascinating. It's like it's not 3D, it's almost 4D, the way that this is so full of shapes and dimensions. This race, watching play out here live, Alessandrini just about starting to open up a little bit of gap now over Kabanka in second. 8/10 is the gap.
I've been kind of tracking it the last couple of laps, and he really hasn't pulled away. With his quality time, you would think, oh, okay, this guy's going to be 5 seconds ahead. Be a Marco Pinero type race, but it hasn't quite shown to be that yet. These two, Kabanka and Overstreet, are just kind of hanging back in there, and they're getting this draft. They come out of Moss Corner to get down this long straight, and they'll stretch out a little bit and tighten back up because of the toe.
Well, you say that, Charles. I was watching the Delta times, and Alessandrini got it beyond the second. Oh, there's Renders. He's off. He's pushed it a little bit too hard, a little too far there in his pursuit to try to get back inside the top 10.
But jumped to second place.
I thought that might happen, but Alessandrini breaking that draft, and where it happened was we saw it when we were on board with Overstreet. Kabanka just got really, really loose coming into Moss on that break. He said, I spoke about in qualifying, and I think that's what just allowed Alessandrini just to eke out that last couple of attempts that he needed to break the draft from this following group. But what can Overstreet do in reply? Well, lose a temp through turn 1, and there is Ray into the pits early on, as he always seems to do. But descend down to, well, I assume it's going to be the back of the pack. Brendel and Tim Steno well off the pace today, but I think they're going to fall behind us. Ooh, we've got a replay. This is what happens to Thomas Renders, Charles. Tries to get past Bradshaw, maybe, and pushing a bit too hard.
No, just kind of locked the tires up and just went straight on. Was able to catch it over there and continue on, but lost a couple of seconds to Bradshaw in front.
Well, I saw out the corner of my eye, Bradshaw was having his own slight little bit of a moment in front of him. But I do wonder, it's that perennial target fixation that you have where you have a mistake of sympathy for the car in front of you, where you're sort of half following their lines a bit, as well as Philip Fernandez off the American 317 machine dropped behind Bottas because of it, and Brendel not too far behind. But it's been...
Yeah, I think you may be right there. That does happen quite frequently.
Well, we can base justify to that one, can't we? And clarify that.
Yes, I saw a lot of it yesterday during particular market. So yeah, it just especially with we're talking about that, just say, but the GTP cars or the new hypercars saw a lot of target fixation where they were just misjudging braking points, and those cars. Who was a spin?
Oh no! Oh, he's in the wall as well. Oh. That is coffee. But I think, from my side, Netcode may have saved him there. Maybe. And all the damage that seemed to happen to his car, he lost his front nose. It'll pop back on again. At least from my side of things, anyway. Here is Carter in front of him. Does he have his own mistake? Here we go. Let's find out what happened. Well, you spoke about these curbs on the outside, Charles, being treacherous.
Yep.
He dipped a wheel onto the grass there.
I saw a lot of that in practice. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. Just a little wide on turn 1, and either the curb or the grass, or a combination of that, just upsets the car, and you end up in the opposite wall. I'm saying he's got damage.
Yes. There's definite suspension damage.
That car, that tire literally hanging on by a thread.
Well, at my end, it looked like it wasn't holding on at all, just through, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, bizarrely. But either way, it's struggling like mad with it. Trying to bring that one home. Of course, the drivers do have one fast repair today. Now, very early, Jason Green, the nearly 15-minute mark. That's a shocker, but not surprising, seeing as he's got stuck in that midfield battle.
Yeah, Jason is one of those, we've talked about it frequently. He's one of those kind of masters of fuel strat. So maybe he thinks there's an advantage to coming in and getting this undercut to try and make up some of that time. It's for a guy that normally runs it to the very end.
Charles, I'm going to cut across you because I spotted first off the time delta between Alessandrini and Cabanca. Cabanca got past Overstreet, but Overstreet's just even more time and places. I think she's had a mistake or an incident out on track, and she's now into this best of the rest group that all of a sudden are quarrelling over that last place on the podium. Let's see how she did it. What happened to it? Oh, a bit too much mustard on that curb.
Indeed. Yep, just let the rear end come around and lost it there in turn 3. I think you call that Quebec. I don't really know all of that. Just
You're spot on. Nice Quebec.
Yeah. Okay, so so she's fallen back into this group with Brewster, Nelson, Carter, Saunders. Green was in this group, which may be another reason why he's decided to hit early to kind of get some free air.
Do you think he now regrets pitting early because he would have been in this fight for the podium? Well, I'm guessing he probably thought, right, let's pit early, get out of this group, try and lay down some fast lap times to get away from this group after the round of pit stops. But then Overstreet has this mistake that brings her back into this group, and do you think he's now ruining that decision to come in so early?
If it doesn't pay off, probably. So as we see another spin, Stevie Ray coming out of the S's before the last corner. I'm not sure what that was. That's it's kind of a weird spot. Maybe he was side by side with somebody.
It's the exit of the S's, Charles, and
yeah.
The car's really loaded up as you come through there. And quite easy, is it got the shift of weight to lose the rear of the car.
Yeah, I think he maybe tried to keep that a little tighter than he needed to, and kind of lost the rear end there. Too much, a little oversteer. As we see another car, off, Ty Brindle off in Moss. Sounds like somebody apologized, so there might have been some contact there.
He was locked in a battle with, I think, Fernandez after his issue. I think from memory. So possibly a bit of a coming together between... Actually, I'm going to guess it's something to do with Tim Stainer because he passed him literally moments before Brendel has his issue. And, well, there you go. There's Brendel on the right-hand side of the screen. Stainer on the inside line. Yeah, there we go.
Just kind of turned in on him. It's one of those that's it's easy enough to do. Just side by side in the moss is very difficult because there's really not a lot of good options for a second line there. You need to be pretty spot on with those corners. You can do it, but you lose so much time side by side through moss, even more than what you would normally do just battling on the racetrack. As we see another car that's
Nelson. Well, that's gutting because he was in with the fight for the podium last podium place, wasn't he? And that's dropped him right out of it.
Yep, and it was one of those that just another, maybe too much throttle on the exit and kind of lost the rear end.
Just to keep you up to date, viewers, we're seeing the graphic right now. Who has stopped so far? Renders is showing that he's stopped, but that's where he had to jump to the pits with that issue on the formation lap. As that's looking a bit extra skating, even by Overstreet standards. I know she likes to drift the car, but even then, it looks like it's not quite that tactic working out for her today at Mosport. So there's Green. Right, so where is he? So he's down in 16th. That's where he's come out. Bottas is into the pits now. So Green will gain another place due to that. Oh, no. That's not going to help his chances.
No, absolutely not.
Don't think it's quite Green's day at the office today.
Once again, this is a very difficult track to get your arms wrapped around.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because you look at the track layout and you go, oh, there's not that many corners here. That can't be that hard.
Right. Oh.
But that's a lockup from... Yeah, lockup from him, and that allows Overstreet to sneak on her way through. He closes off the door to cut off the advances of Brewster, but they've remained in the draft, so they'll catch back up again by the time they reach the S's. Which, actually very similar to the S's and Snake at Suzuka that we mentioned about earlier on.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, it's still battling. I mean, it's, you see the little mistakes here and there that cost you a second or a couple seconds, and you just try and hang on to the car. Like I said, yeah, it's one of these. It's like there's not a lot of corners, but the technical, the technical driving ability you need to have for this track, the you know the the car control, the throttle control, your speed to get these corners aligned just right. It's very hard to get like get your own track right.
Well, that mistake we just saw, Charles, I've just been looking at it. That was Carter. And that means he's now lost the lead in Spec 2. Jeff Saunders retakes that. So, in fact, Carter's dropped 2 further places. He's come out into, well, he sorted himself out into 10th place behind Renders. Renders up into 8th now, only 2 places back from where he started. And Adam Bradshaw, he's had an eventful race so far, but he's actually up 2 spots overall, 1 in class, so still flying high. He was at last podium position in Masters for now, though. As there's Carter having a bit of a blink behind it, and also Gary Walbolt, who's 4th in Masters. As meanwhile, Masters, Brewster's just got past Nelson. It's all change.
It has, yeah. Renders is up at 8, and about 2.5 seconds behind this group. Or the end of that group. Saunders is kind of just, well, no, he's about 4 seconds, so 3-4 seconds. So, you got Overstreet, Brewster, Nelson, and you've got Saunders, Renders, Carter, Bradshaw, Woolbolt, all kind of grouped together. So, obviously, Renders, running really well. He's got the chance to make up a few more spots before this race is done.
Yes, and we've got, just under 18 minutes remaining here from Motorsports. Plenty of time left on the clock.
Well, if Stevie Ray is any indication of the fuel mileage, as we see a spin there from Carter. Nicely done by the cars to not run into one of those. Let's get on the grass trying to get it.
And crucially for that, Charles, he's managed to, some imagination, some way, he's managed to hold on to the 2nd place in class. He has moved outside the top 10 now to 11th. As Carter, but Fernandez is only 1.8 seconds down the road now, Charles. So that deficit is diminished demonstrably.
Yeah, it has. It's one of those that if you can run a clean race, not make as few mistakes as possible, you have a chance of coming out with a good result. I was going to say, if Stevie Ray is any indication of the fuel mileage, then we're about 5 minutes or so from everybody having to pit to finish the race. We came in around the 12-minute mark.
It is a circuit where you can't really. I'd imagine it's quite a bit of a challenge. Carter into the pits. But it's going to be quite a challenge to fuel save around here.
Yeah, I would think so. Because there's really only, like I said, there's really only one draft zone, and that's that back stretch. You see Bradshaw off, kind of rejoining the track, nice and clean. So there's really not a lot of places. I guess you could basically lift and coast in some of the corners, but if you do, you really run the possibility of just getting ran over from behind because of the way that you have to carry the speeds and things with this car.
It's a momentum car on a momentum track. It should fit very nicely together, but it makes it all the more treacherous and absolutely imperative that you get it absolutely pinpoint perfect every single time. But it's all come down to this three-way fight. That last place on the podium. McConnell, Overstreet and Brewster. Are we going to see another Masters driver finish on the podium overall yet again here in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors? Well, we don't have too long to find out. 15 minutes away from finding out exactly how this one's going to pan out.
It's definitely possible. I just kind of was looking at the timing and scoring, and Allison Green is just out front. I think I was going to say cruising, but he's still running. He still set the fastest lap of the race last lap with a 1:26.2. He's clear of everybody, and so he's not really having to push that hard. He's got a 7-second gap back to Kabaka in second.
Well, you said we can't be far away from pit stop time. There comes Bradshaw, Fernandez, and Staino all into pit road, Charles. So that one about right. Inside the next 5 minutes, you said. That was about 2 minutes ago. So there we go. A few more names crossed off the list. And they've all. I was going to say, that group we've just seen there, just all settled down a little bit now. So see Alessandrini. Well, pretty much just hot lapping this one to victory. Bar a mistake from him. Say time in the bag, 7.3 seconds. It seems every time you look at it, it's gone up by another tenth or two, or even 3 at times, compared to Christian Kabanka, who, let's face it, is no slouch whatsoever.
Well, definitely not. Definitely not. I think he's been at least close to the podium every race as we see Bottas go off.
Well, that's gutting because Bottas had led Spec 2 for a while and features really strongly in qualifying in 2, but now falls to the back of Spec 2, and everyone around it has already stopped and taken their pit stops. So I think for Bottas, that's not looking good. Of course, in the 666 car, it's not looking good based on that number, but still plenty of time left, you know.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, we've still got 13 minutes left.
Yeah, still got 13 minutes left, and Bottas has already taken his pit stop too. So he's got a chance to, the cars in front of him are 4 to 6 seconds. So just got, like I said, just got to run between the laps and see what happens, because some of the field are moving forward because some of the field are moving back because they're making mistakes. So as we see Renders. Oh, that's Saunders off. I think that's how Renders got P7.
And wow, so Saunders still holding on to that lead in Spec 2. Saunders is yet to stop. So Carter's still potentially in play, but I think Saunders still going to be okay even after his pit stop to come out in the lead of that category. There's nobody in at the moment this time around. I'll say that. Here comes Nelson in from 6th place. Renders follows in suit 2. Now Renders, actually, this could benefit him because he only had to do half of the formation lap and then would have assumably put a bit of extra fuel in. So when he started, when we went green, had effectively an extra lap of fuel on board.
That's true. That's a good point. That could absolutely help him out. There's some, at least a second or two shorter pit stop time. So yeah, that might really play into his favor.
Pretty much everyone in outside of our top 5: Nelson, Renders, Saunders, Walbolt, Brendel. So this will now tell us: will Saunders come out in the lead of Spec 2? The moment. Renders is taking tyres. Our producer's telling me in our ears. He can go again. Now, he definitely took rears. Did he take the fronts as well? I think he might have done based on his lap time. Alessandrini into the pits too, from the lead.
I'm going to guess that was a reset because he turned. I think his pit stop got reset as he came out of pit entry or pit exit at the start of the race. It just didn't think about it, which is possible because he's been driving like a madman since the start of the race. So yeah, he wasn't even thinking about the pit stop, but that's probably just his tires got rechecked and didn't realize it until the car was up on the jacks.
McConnell, Overstreet and Brewster in as well. Bit of a lengthy stop for Alessandrini. He's still in pit row. A long stop, 19 seconds, Charles. One of the longest stops that we've seen so far.
It was quite a long time.
But he's got time to play with. When he came in, he was a good 7 seconds clear of Kabanka, who was the only driver who elected to go around one more time. Oh, so this might actually come out to be a little bit closer than what we envisaged. Overstreet. Well, would it work for Jason Green? The answer to that one, Charles. Look at that. Slots out into 4th. He is 1.2 seconds behind Overstreet, though.
Yep, so he's got some work left to do, but yeah, he's definitely in a position to get on the podium after that undercut. It's worked out for him quite well.
Well, I thought, but no. That's Nelson in the wall, and that Yeah, it's going to ruin his chances
I'm
of being
gonna
on the
guess.
podium in Masters.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
Oh,
That was close. The outside curb. I think these curbs have a tendency to kick you kick you to the opposite wall when you catch them wrong.
here comes Kubanka. Let's drive to stop. So he needs a quick stop here. There's Nelson into the pit, so that just fully confirms that one. But how quick is this stop going to be? There is Alessandrini. Well, he's going to take the lead, but just by how far? That is the question. About another 3 seconds left for Kubanka in pit road. Well, there you go. He's off and running again. It's a really quick stop for him. A 15.6 second compared to 19.1. But even then, look at that. Even still, 6 seconds. The advantage that Alessandrini has got over Kubanka.
Yeah, he gained a little bit of time, but just not as much as we would have thought earlier. So he's only gained maybe a second and a half. Green obviously is going as hard as he can go.
And that'd be a bit too hard, I think, based on that one.
That would be, yeah, just wide out of turn two. That's just a sign that he's really trying to push the car.
Well, we've got 8 minutes and a bit of change left over of this race, and oh, there's Bradshaw into the wall backwards. Additional tyre smoke there. There might have been Philip Fernandez having his own incident. I would say where he is on the track, I'm going to guess so. Bradshaw's jumped to the pit, so that's another one out. So, it's proving a cruel mistress, this motorsport, isn't it? In these latter stages, that is going to be Bradshaw and Nelson we've lost in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, I would say with the way these cars, the way you have to drive these cars, and we saw them over street, you basically just kind of let the tail wag around the corners, as we would say, and then you warm the tires down for about 25 minutes, and you go in and add more fuel to it. Now you've kind of changed the balance of the car a little bit, so that might be catching a few of these drivers.
Seems to be the case, isn't it? Certainly is. Now, I'm seeing McConnell is catching Overstreet, and that gap is down to 8 tenths of a second. So maybe quite done and dusted. There's also Carter and Stevens swapping places with a large abundance there. And that's the battle 40th overall, 4th in class.
You see Green kind of back there, just on the edge of being able to get back into that draft zone behind McCall and Street.
And he's done this with a heavier car compared to his competitors.
He has. He has indeed, yeah. Obviously coming in and taking fuel, and so he's done a really great job.
Lovely little move on Gary Walbolt there. And Walbolt not changing class, obviously Ren's being Spec 1, Walbolt mean Masters. But Walbolt remains 3rd in class. Currently in terms of Masters, Brewster 6th, Ray 2nd in class, he's 7th overall, but it's a sizable gap of 13 seconds between 1st and 2nd. Then Walbolt is some further 10 odd seconds down on Ray, so they're well spaced out and just need to bring their cars home. Talking of debuts, Kai Brendel, the newcomer to the series, currently up 8 spots into 12th, 4th in class as well. Having an absolute flyer is the German.
Yeah, it's having a great run first time out. This is probably not the first track you want to see, but he's done a great job. Yeah, running P12, 4th in class.
I would try and impose, speak some superlatives about him in his native language, but I think Good is the only one. Oh, spinner in the background. I think that's 2 people caught up in it.
Yeah, it was Carter and Stevens, I believe.
It looked like they just locked wheels together. There goes Tim Stano, who picks up some places because of it. He's up into 4th, and now, actually, yes, that means Bottas. It's the podium inspect 2. This is how it happened. Did Carter have his own moment? Yes, he did.
Inside curb, just kind of unsettled the car, and then the next guy is just okay. I don't have anywhere to go, so not much we could do with that.
Oh, Paul Stevens, another victim here. Had nowhere to go. Couldn't change lines, but you can with the higher downforce cars, or cars with any downforce. So let's be honest. Compared to these Formula 4s, you can take quite a bit of that inside curve I found in the past.
You can.
But you need downforce, and when you don't have it, like in these cars, it's dicing with death, isn't it? A little bit. It works out or it doesn't work out, and in that occasion, it definitely did not work out.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it earlier with the 3 wide with Green on the inside. He was basically, on top of the curb, right side tires inside. Off the curbing, and they managed to make it through unscathed that time. So, but yeah, the curbs are tricky. You have to really just know how to drive them, and otherwise, you end up with situations like that.
Well, our eagle-eyed producer Samuli has just messaged me saying Overstreet is using the inside curb at turn 1 a lot. All race long, so I do wonder whether it's a little bit like the bus stop chicane at Watkins Glen, where you have to pretty much skim the wall to ride over the top of the curb. But if you get slightly to the left, then you clatter the curb and you bounce all over it. We're right on board with McConnell now. Let's watch.
Oh
yeah.
He's fully inside. And I think, those curbs have a tendency to keep you, like I said, to the opposite side of the track. So by her going so far in, she's putting the left side tires on the curbing itself. Then I think it's actually helping her kind of rotate the car around the corner.
Well, it's definitely a shorter distance.
It definitely is.
Certainly compared to McConnell, who's electing to drive around the outside of those curbs. A little bit surprised that maybe he hasn't elected to try and copy Overstreet, but equally, I suppose, when you're in this sort of position, it's like, do I gamble and try and copy what she's doing, or do I stick to what I know, what I feel confident at doing, and just not risk it?
Right. Yes, it's mid-race or toward the end of the race is probably not the time to do your major experiments with your driving line. Obviously there's chances you can take, and that. If you're comfortable on curbs, that might be one you would think about. But if you're not, you just are better off not trying it.
It strikes me a little bit as they come up onto the back of, that's Richard Coffey. He's going to move across to the right-hand side to allow these drivers to come flying through. But for McConnell now, there was a game show in the UK called Bullseye. It's based around darts, and they win prizes, and before they went through to the final round, they could either keep all the prizes they've won so far, or they could gamble them for the super prize, which is normally either a speedboat or a caravan or some awful car when you look back at it now. But that's what McConnell's at. Does he gamble everything with a chance of maybe getting on the podium, or does he stick with what he's got? Thanks very much, Jim. I've had a lovely day. We're going to keep what we've got. We're going to go out.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, he's still.
There you go. Didn't need to gamble, did he?
Did he make a move to the inside, or did Overstreet just get wide there? Let's see.
I think it's the latter, Charles.
So you got really good run coming through 4. Yeah, she just overtook the corner and went wide and lost the position.
Wow.
Now she's got about a lap to try and make that gap back up to get back around.
Well, there's no about, Charles. When they cross the line, they're getting the white flag, which means 1 lap to go. And now all of the pressure is on Overstreet, who lies 6 tenths behind McConnell to get this one done. There is Barney, you see him in the distance, waving the white flag furiously. Here we go, folks. All or nothing for that last podium place that stayed out around. Well, you guessed it. It's Moss again. That gap's still 6 tenths. In fact, actually, McConnell pulling an extra 10th over Overstreet. So we head through Quebec for the final time this evening. McConnell needs to bring this one home now. Just be cool, calm, and collected. But the only chance Overstreet has got is that run up the hill, Charles. If she can just about keep it where it is, I'm not sure if she can make it quite enough time, but she's going to be in that slipstream range.
Yeah, she needs to get a really good exit out of Moss to get that run. It's about 6 tenths of a second gap. And
She's got it, Charles. It's already
yeah.
tumbling just on corner exit.
Yeah.
So that draft kicks in as we head up the hill. Here we go. Can she close in? It's half a second. It's 4.5 tenths. It's 4 tenths. There goes Alessandrini. He's going to win it. Did you expect anything less or anything different, though? But it's down to a quarter of a second, Charles, as we head into the S's. Then it's white corner. And then that is it. It's the run to the line. Overstreet all over McConnell. Can he hold on? One corner left to do so. Only Skatey on exit. Overstreet giving in absolutely everything, but it's not enough. But McConnell holds on for that last place on the podium.
Right, really good effort by her. She really kind of let off the throttle early in that last quarter. Hopefully, maybe try and get a switch back. Just couldn't make it happen.
Needed what, maybe 1 or 2 more corners and could have got it done, but ran out of time, ran out of track. There's your winner in Spec 2. It is Jeff Saunders, the Brit. About the first non-American finisher, top 7 being all from fair land, Charles. There's Kai Brendel having a bit of an excursion. Going again though.
Coming in, get P3 in Spec 2.
I mean, for Bottas, I mean that was definitely a topsy-turvy race to say the least. So that is a cracking result. That's what we'll do. We'll to bring you up some classified results very shortly once everyone has got across the line. Which there they go. They already have. So Alessandrini winner here by a commanding 10.7 seconds. Kabanka second, and it was all about that race for the last place on the podium. McConnell got it though over Overstreet. Jason Green, great recovery in the end, but that mistake after the pit stops cost him dearly, and he finishes 5th. Jim Brewster, your winner in Masters, with Ray second in class, 7th overall, but a sizable margin time-wise between the pair of them. Jess Saunders wins Spec 2, finishes 8th, and as I mentioned, the first non-USA resident to finish. And it's Renders. Great recovery from him, who had to head to the pits on the formation lap, recovered all the way back up to 9th, having started in 6th. Great result for him. It's Warbolt running out the Masters class podium and the top 10. Then we've got 2nd and 3rd in Spec 2. That's Philip Fernandez and Bottas. And then Brendel, great result for him. Steno, last driver finishing on the lead lap in 14th. Coffee, 1 lap down in 15th. Then we're into the retirement of Stevens and Carter, we last on lap 24. Nelson on lap 21. So was Bradshaw on lap 21. Jacobson, we lost on lap 3. And John Toms, who we did not make the start. Apologies, but let's have a chat to some of our drivers. First off, we've got a chat with the winner in Masters. That's right, it's Jim Brewster.
Winner.
Wow, not bad indeed. Hey.
This is what happened when the aliens stay home. You know the 3 alien masters we have, and I always refer to them as alien masters because the rest of us civilians are down here fighting for the breadcrumbs. But yeah, it was a fun day. Had a good run. This track is so much oversteer. As you saw, we had some real exciting moments. Me, Stevie, and somebody else early, and then Megan almost took out me and Michael at the hairpin, and so it was a lot of fun.
Well, Jim, at one stage you were fighting for a place on the podium overall. I mean, just talk us through that. Did that actually cross your mind that was occurring at that moment in time, or?
No, I'm purely a Masters driver. Those guys, I know they're going to separate. I don't know how they do the pit stops. That's where I lost them, even with the automatic gas. So I can't even explain that because I came in pretty good. I entered the pits good. Somehow exiting, they jumped me. But anyway, I just was latched onto their back end and watching where Stevie was, and Gene Michael Nelson was coming up for, he had a real strong run there for a while, and then he made a mistake But no, I stay within class and just use those fast guys as draft, you know. So
Much hope for the Surfs later on. I
oh,
mean,
yeah,
I know there's no Antonio race because he's deciding to watch the F1 instead. How rude. But Sounddown, newer track as well.
it's weird, and there's been every time I've been there, officials have been 0 cars. So it'll be interesting. You know, I don't stay up late enough to do the strength field race on Monday night, but that might have been the only official race this week, for all I can see. Thursday night at 8:45 there were 0 cars, so I think it's gonna, you know, as you saw, today's field was a little skimpy here. We had a lot. I think we had some newcomers here today, which is pretty exciting. Hey, I don't know if you heard, but a bunch of us met at the SCCA runoffs last week, and
Yes.
we got to meet about 15. We had about 20 of us get together. It was amazing to meet all these folks. You know, we race them every week, and we talk to them, and we got to meet a whole bunch of them in person in real life.
I mean, spill the beans. Was there anyone who looked dramatically different from what you build up an image of what someone looks like in your head? Is there anyone who looked way different to what you thought?
No,
did?
no, and the crazy part is they're even friendlier than you expect. You know, yeah, you're racing them. You know, some of them seem a little sketchy, but in person they're really sweet and nice guys.
There you go. That is the beauty of the Weekend Warriors. Well, good luck for Sandown later on in the Surfs. That's Jim Brewster, your winner in Masters. Charles.
See you guys next week.
We'll do indeed. Charles, who have you managed to grab for a chat?
Let's talk to our race winner, DJ Alessandrini. DJ, this is Charles in the booth. You had a pretty, I would say, uneventful race, just kind of out front from start to finish.
My own chasing green was almost the end of me a couple times.
Is that right?
Yeah, just because I was flirting with the 25s the whole time, and I just wanted one. And I wasn't going to settle for not trying for it. So there was a couple times where the wheel was 180 degrees to not have me crying into a pillow at the end of the race.
Well, obviously you had a really good quality, and it was, great pace from start to finish. So congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
And next up, we've got a chat with our third place finisher, Michael McConnell. But I mean, only just Michael. I mean, a gift given to you in the form of the mistake from Overstreet. But I mean, my golly, those last 2 corners, it felt like she made your life incredibly uncomfortable. Did it seem like that from inside the cockpit?
Yeah. It was a bunch of kind of a back and forth there. She got a better pit stop than I did. Came out in front of me. I was trying to close up that gap again, and I was able to manage that.
And up until then, I mean, you were involved in the best of the rest of who was going to finish 4th. When you saw her drop down and have from that mistake about mid-race and come into the midfield, it became a race for the podium, that last place on the podium. That changed your mentality at all of how you were approaching things?
Yeah, that was actually great. I don't know if there's contact or she made an actual mistake.
It was an actual mistake from her at Moss Corner.
Yeah, when she fell back, she kind of got reabsorbed into the mob there and couldn't leave us again.
I think the mob, based on the action that we saw, I think is an incredibly good way to describe it. I mean, I think you were involved in the 3 wide into turn 1, or you were in amongst that little gaggle that were doing it. Just talk us through that, because that looked scary sat here in the commentary booth.
Yeah, near the beginning of the race.
Yes.
I did not know what was going on. I knew that I was in the middle. I knew that somebody was to my right, and I couldn't quite see them, and somebody was to my left, and I could barely see them. I on the triple monitors, and they were not quite in my vision, but it's like, I don't know where we're going, but we're going to turn into this.
Just pray everyone just works together and it all comes out. Well, it didn't. If you can't see them on triples, then those on singles, that's no chance of whatsoever. But I mean, absolute congratulations to you on the podium. You fancy your chances for the Surfs later on?
I do not race those yet, actually.
Oh no, you don't. Apologies, you don't, do you? Maybe I have to twist your arm and get involved in them, but at some stage. But I mean, even so, continue on strong vein of form. Where are we in a week's time? We are at Laguna Seca, the short trip to there. Looking forward to that one. I think you ran quite well there from memory last time we visited.
I was not there last season.
No, because I'm thinking the Surfs. That's why. Ignore me. I'm too much ingrained in that one. But even so, I mean, good luck for that one. We'll speak to you hopefully in a week's time. It's Michael McConnell.
Yeah, thank you.
Charles, do you want a quick chat? I can see we're running against the time a bit, but with Megan Overstreet quickly.
Yeah, let's talk to Megan. Megan, this was a very interesting race for you. You were kind of battling up front and made a mistake and ended up in a really, really big battle right outside the top 5.
Yeah, mistakes were the name of the game today.
Yeah, we've been talking about it the entire day. It's a very tough track to get a handle on, and it's really easy to just make one error that just is a race ender.
Oh yeah, especially with the Formula 4, because it's just sliding around everywhere, which is a blast, but it's very dangerous.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we could tell everybody was just kind of letting the tail hang out and trying to get around the corner. But it was a fun race for us to call. It was I'm sure for the people to watch. Lots of drama from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thanks, Megan, for stopping in.
Thank you.
Completely agree with you there. Minimal words at the end, Charles.
Yep.
But
Short
even
but
so,
sweet. That's fine.
Exactly. Summarized it nicely. Well, what a race it has been. Whew. Deep breath. Time to go pose for ourselves. About 40 minutes coming up on the channel. It's the double header of Weekend Warriors, as it always here is on Super Sunday on Apex Racing TV. We've had sundown in Australia for that one. But for the Formula 4s, from South Simcox, Charles Bashar and Sumi Kume, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you in a week's time when we head to Laguna Seca. Goodbye.